Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Earlier today, I got asked a question specific to the Leatherman Super Tool 300M. And so I pulled it out and I got the answer to the question I was looking for. And then I started looking at it a little closer. And my mind got to wondering, as it always does, because I'm always thinking about concepts for multi-tools. Well, I got to thinking about, why did Leatherman choose the 300M or the Super Tool 300 platform, apart from just cost, apart from it's a little bit cheaper to manufacture this particular multi-tool. Why would they choose the 300 platform? So I decided to bring out all of my military themed multi-tools. So we have the Leatherman Mutt, the Leatherman Mutt EOD, the Super Tool 300M, and the Super Tool 300 EOD. Now all these are kind of that military themed or military based. Now, with the first two, the Mutt and the Mutt EOD, these things are awesome. They are just perfect the way they are. I don't think Leatherman has built a more purpose-built, perfectly engineered multi-tool than they did when they made the Leatherman Mutt and the Leatherman Mutt EOD. They are engineering perfection in my estimation. Now, I know there's probably some people that would like to tweak them here or there. I think they're just perfect the way they are. But when looking at the 300M and the 300 EOD, I just try to put myself in the mindset of someone who would be in the military. And I've never served in the military. I've never been in law enforcement, never been a first responder. But when I'm thinking about these types of things, I try to put myself in the mindset of a type of person who would be in that situation. So one thing that I know for sure, if I was in that type of situation, the one thing that I would want on a multi-tool is I would want very quick access to my knife blade. I would not want to be having to open up the 300 or 300 EOD or M in order to get to a knife blade. That's something that when I need it right then. So what other platform is viable? Well, there's really only one other platform in the Leatherman heavy-duty multi-tool lineup that is actually viable to make a military themed multi-tool, and that is the Leatherman Surge. Now obviously it wouldn't be in a stainless, it would be in a black, in a black oxide if you're going to do something like this. But when it comes to the 300 EOD, it's a little more tricky because of the fact that they use the punch. In fact, you can see how they had to make the cutout in the frame of the 300 in order to facilitate putting that particular tool in there, because it is wider. They had to gain a little bit of space, but they did a pretty nice job on it in the end. It's a little bit raised out of the frame, but it's very, very slight. So they did a fine job of putting it together. I just think they did it on the wrong platform. So let's take a closer look at why I think this Leatherman Surge would be a viable option for a military themed multi-tool. So I'm looking at the 300M. I've set the 300 EOD to the side because, frankly, majority of military personnel are not in explosive ordnance disposal. So my thought is to try to make a more generalized multi-tool or military-based multi-tool. So first of all, let's look at the 300M overall and see what it has. So they offer the extension that also doubles as a sight tool as well. This is one of the things, and it's magnetic too. It doesn't have the ring clip, and so this will accept regular quarter-inch drivers, which is actually a big plus. And of course, they want a lot of money for that one by itself. It's like $30 to get that one from Leatherman. Then they offer a bit sleeve that is going to carry more of the bits that you're going to be using for adjusting sights and stuff like that. So, or rails or whatever you may be working on, they give you a single bit sleeve. So we'll set those two to the side. And then, by the way, they also give you the specialized MOLLE pouch that is able to house both of those things as well. So your clip or your extension goes there, and in the front sleeve you can put your bit sleeve, and then it's MOLLE compatible, which is very nice. So now let's look at the tool set. I want to start with the 4 outer tools and how I think this can be implemented into a Surge platform as opposed to a 300 platform. So they have the 2 knife blades. That's a no-brainer for the Leatherman. It already has those. Then they have the file. They've chosen to eliminate the saw, and then they add in the the scraping tool, which is not quite as good as the one on the Mutt, but still pretty effective for what it's designed to use. So now let's look at the Leatherman Surge. So first of all, we have the two blades. That's easy enough to no changes have to be made to this one when it comes to that. Then on the other two tools for the Surge, you have the exchanger, which both works for your saw blade and for your file, and on the other side would be your scissors. So the first thing that I would do in a military-based tool is I would eliminate the scissors. Those would be gone. And I would replace that with the scraper tool that is used in a liner lock fashion as opposed to the style that they have it in now. So basically just switch this out and it'll fit perfectly. I mean, there's no clearance issues whatsoever, and be able to put that tool here. The second thing I thought about was one of two things. Okay, so either my thought is you don't want the blade exchanger. This is my personal thought, and I know some people may not see it quite the same way I do. But in a military tool, people that are they're on the go all the time. I would think that you don't want to have to exchange out a tool. So I'd rather have the regular file in there, but I would like to have it instead of the file that they have in here would be a crosscut edge file and then a full-on diamond file for it as well. I think that would be a great option to replace this particular tool. Now, for those that think you need a saw, one thing that I've been kind of against is having a combo blade. Now, there's two tools. In fact, let me bring the Mutt back out here real quick. There's two tools that I'm actually okay with a combo blade, and those are the Mutt. Well, actually, I got the EOD version, but I'm okay with the combo blade on the Mutt and Mutt EOD and the one on the Signal. I think the profile of those knives leaves enough good cutting edge for the straight blade, and I like the fact that it has a good solid inch there for getting started through cutting through man-made materials. So these are the two multi-tools from the Leatherman lineup that I'm really okay with the combo blade. I think they could also get rid of one of the blades, add in this style of combo blade, and the outside profile is nearly identical too. So this would not be hard to do. And then with the other blade, take the serrated blade out and put in a full-length saw for those that think that it would be better in a full-length saw. And I think I kind of like it, thinking about it that way. Now, when we look at the rest of the tools, there is really no clearance issue. So on the first side, we already have the two interior tools here. We don't need the lanyard ring because the Surge has the ability or has the integrated lanyard ring. So these would be no-brainers. Those tools are already in there. The other side houses three tools. And on the Super Tool 300M, they put two tools. So they put this driver, and then they exchange these two for the pry tool. Now, I don't know how I feel about that pry tool, but I know a lot of people like it, and I don't think it would be a hard switch to go from taking all three of these out, or actually two of them out, adding in the pry tool, and then instead of this driver, I think it would be more useful the larger driver myself, but that's all subjective. So really, there's really no reason why they couldn't put all of these tools in the Leatherman Surge. Now we're going to turn our attention to the pliers, and these are pretty much the same. So you've got the needle nose, the regular pliers. This one in the 300M, it's going to come with standard wire cutters and hard wire cutters instead of the EOD version. And then you've got the stranded wire cutters and the wire crimpers in the back, exactly the same as the Surge. The only difference is that on the 300 EOD they add in the ability to put in the cleaning rod adapter. So this is 832 female threads. This is the only issue with putting it in the Surge because of the way the Surge, the pliers open up. You got that spring mechanism on either side of the frame that would interfere with being able to utilize that in the same fashion that you do on the 300M. So if we close this up, you'll notice that the frame is cut out to allow for your cleaning rod attachment to go right through the frame and be able to use it just like this. So that would be one issue. But I also thought, why couldn't they just open it up and use it in this fashion? You pretty much get the same thing. It's not quite on par, it's not quite the same, but you would still be able to use it. So now let's, I'll tell you what, let me get the 300 EOD in here and show you another thought that I had. Now, when looking at the 300, the Super Tool 300 EOD, they do things a little bit different in this one. First of all, you'll notice that right away they have a combo blade in it. So they have kind of saved one of the slots so that they could have both knife blades. They're trying to give you as much capability as possible. And then they have the saw instead of a file. On this side, they put the 300 EOD blade exchanger in there, the T-shank blade exchanger, so that you could switch out and put saws in there, or different cutting instruments, whatever you choose to. And then on this side, they have the male threaded adapter so that you could put on the C4 punch. Or if you wanted to carry it separately, you could put the punch down tool or the disassembly punch from the MUT in there as well and carry it separately. So with looking at this now, and I also left one other tool out here because I think maybe this might be even a better option. So the first thing is I like that adapter. So if we're looking at the Surge again, the one thing you could do, first of all, switch this out for a good combo blade, much like you have on the Leatherman MUT. So that's slot 1. On slot 2, I really still feel like I would like the 300 version of the file, only with a diamond file incorporated into it, and get rid of this exchanger. I just feel like the exchanger in this type of tool is not necessary. It's just my personal belief. Then on the other side, we would eliminate the saw blade in favor of the scraping tool from the 300M. I think that is a necessary tool to have in a military themed tool for weapons maintenance. So now we're dealing with the last slot, which is on the scissors. And my personal thought is they could do something similar to what they did in the frame of the 300 EOD, where they could give that a little bit of a cutout. Instead, this would be on a liner lock, make this adapter. You can see that this one is already, in fact, let me close some of this stuff up so we can get a little better view of that. You can see that they've already built this one offset. It offsets to the outside. They could do something similar on this one, just give you a little bit of a cutout frame where it be liner locked instead and work in pretty much the same fashion. Now the last tool that I think would probably, now that I think about it, I think this one would actually be a little bit better. We would leave, or I would leave, all of the same interior tools that we talked about with the 300M, with the exception of we talked about leaving this driver. And with the with the bit adapter or bit exchanger, you already have a lot of screwdrivers. Now I realize that this doubles as a pry tool as well, a light duty pry tool. But my thought is it would be better to take this one out, use the tools from the 300M on the interior tools, and then put the all back in to the Surge. I think that would be the better option. So almost identical to the interior tools that they have on the 300M. Put a combo blade in here, give you the file and the saw, and then add in, the file and the scraping tool, as well as the punch tool. The only thing that we wouldn't be able to get in here would be the saw, or maybe have different variants of it. Maybe an EOD version would have a saw and the other one, or just eliminate, there's a number of different things. My point is this: I think they chose the wrong platform for a military themed tool. Because again, like I said, the last thing I want to do, if I need a knife blade and I'm out in the field, if I'm in those kind of dangerous situations and I need a knife, I need it right then. I don't need to be fumbling around looking for it. I need it on the fly and go. And so this is the reason why I think they would have been better off had they used the Surge as their platform for a military themed tool. And I think they could still do it. I mean, I have not really that much problem with the 300M or the 300, the EOD or the 300M. I think they're both pretty good tools. But wouldn't it be nice if they come up with, and I understand that it would be a lot more expensive. It would probably be closing in on the $200 range. I completely get that. But how many military people out there would rather see something based on the Surge platform as opposed to the Super Tool 300 platform? Well, this has just been a little food for thought, something that I was thinking about and I wanted to share with you guys. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.